If you need us to speak more slowly, more loudly, let us know. We'll do our best. First, I want to introduce and thank Senator Hickenlooper staff member Jeanette, and I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Stansel. Yes. Who graciously agreed to meet with us within within 24 hours. We have this all set up. Thank you. She saw all these people and asked if it was a protest. I said, this is a demonstration of how strongly we all feel about this and how we all want to do whatever we can to address this crisis. Okay, Jeanette needed to know, I'm sorry.
And I just want to say we're grateful for this. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. Yes.
She's awesome. We're not to be respectful. And she needs to know who the press are so she can share more information with us.
Yes.
So if you are a member of the press, please raise your hands.
Oh, back behind her. Yes. Okay, all right. Oh, we just walked up.
She wants to come.
Or 90 people here. We thought maybe 10, 15 would show up, so thank you very much. And as you know, we are Mountain Connections Indivisible, and if you haven't heard of us and you heard about this just from a friend, come by and see us afterwards, and we'll give you a little slip that tells you how you can sign up, because we're going to keep everybody informed throughout this whole process until we get our democracy back. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming here today. And we know that to follow the Indivisible plan is to make sure that we let our members of Congress and our members of state and local government know how we feel. We have power by telling them what we feel. And so we recognize that even Senator Hickenlooper has welcomed us to tell him how we feel. Yes. And even though he knows, he wants to hear it, right? Yes. And that's really important. A lot of people say, why are we bothering? They already know. They want to hear it. They want to be able to get up and say, I got 1,000 phone calls on this issue yesterday. Yes. So without further ado, I want to go through some of the points that many people here probably already know because we're a very informed community. But I want to make sure that we all hear the points, because as we, in our travels, this is only going to resonate when people who voted for the other side start to see that this is affecting them, and they start to call their representatives in other states, and we finally get the Republicans to stand up and do what's right. So here are some of the key points that I wanted to make. First of all, what's going on in Washington, D.C. is illegal and it's un-American, and it's causing harm to Coloradans and to people all across this nation, and it's outrageous. And so it's important that we go through some of this. We all support eliminating waste and unnecessary spending. We are not unreasonable, but the way they're doing it is terrible. It's like you have a pool, you've got a few leaves on the top of the pool. You don't empty the pool to get rid of the leaves. You use a skimmer and you get rid of them. They are throwing everything out and harming people across this country without doing the proper vetting and advice and then giving it to the Congress to make the decisions. Congress are the ones that have to appropriate spending, and it's illegal to stop that. That's called the impoundment law. Freezing funding is reckless and it's dangerous. And there have been instances, even with the rescission of the OMB memo that came out last week, there have been instances of things being frozen, and it is having an impact on people. And I have to tell you that I am glad that Senator Hickenlooper and all of the Democratic senators stayed up through the night, 30 hours, to slow down the process of voting for Russell vote. Yes. And they were on the floor, and I have to tell you, I watched 10 hours of it, if you can find it. It is heart-wrenching to hear the stories already of people that are writing to their senators across this nation with pain and panic and real things that are happening to them already, and certainly with things that they're anticipating happening to them. And I know from watching Senator Hickenlooper this morning share with you today also. But, the money that's, already been affecting Head Start, health clinics, mental health services for jails, construction projects, things that affect the homeless. So it's real people with real harm, and we have to make sure that this gets stopped. The Russell vote, who I mentioned before, he is the one that they are going to probably vote on today, and frankly, I don't think we're going to be able to stop it, but you never know, and that's why we're doing all this. He's going to be the head of the Office of Management and Budget. Many people have never heard of that office, but that's what really controls the purse strings, and he is a very dangerous person. He has really weird views. He believes that the expansion of the presidential power is appropriate, and that it's not what the Constitution says, that it should only be governed by Congress. And he is actually the author of, or one of the key authors of Project 2025. And if you look at the executive orders that have come out so far, more than half of them resemble or mirror what's in Project 2025. So we really want to try to stop him, and I don't know that we will, but this is what this is all about. And this is why the senators were on the floor for 30 hours. In fact, it's still going on. It seems the 30 hours are not up yet. The other thing that's really terrible that's going on in Washington, they are depleting the ranks of the FBI and the CIA, which is crazy. It puts us at risk. It's kind of like that analogy before, they're throwing everybody out. People who did good work, and people who didn't do anything wrong, and people who protect this country. They're qualified, dedicated civil servants, and by getting rid of them, it's putting our country and national security at risk. The NIH funding, which is the National Institute of Health, they've already frozen some things there. That's where some of the harm has already happened. And just an example, if you freeze drug trials, even temporarily, you could ruin the whole drug trial. People could die from that, and that's not an exaggeration. And another example, they're not allowing anybody to communicate what's going on with bird flu. Well, if we could communicate, we can eradicate it, or we could, thwart it, but instead it might proliferate. So there are just real harms that are happening out there. Cutting off USAID program. So people think this is just money that we give to foreign countries because we're nice. It's not. First of all, it's really important for our soft power. We use those programs to build relationships in developing countries all over the world. And if we don't do that, you know who's going to step right in our place? China and Russia, right? So they would love nothing more to see us fall apart on this basis. Now, it's also important to know that it's not just the workers out there, and it's not just the things that are happening in these other countries, but it's estimated that 50,000 jobs will be lost in this country if that program goes down. People that are working in farms. I heard a senator last night talk about Kansas farms are being harmed because they're producing crops that are being used in the USAID program in foreign countries. And I'm sure that Senator Hickenlooper is hearing from farmers and ranchers and people who produce produce that's being used in those programs. So it's going to affect jobs in this country. And again, Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire, should not be the one deciding how our money is spent. That job belongs to Congress.
Yeah. Right.
Americans are being harmed. All of these out-of-control cuts and freezes will impact real people, veterans, children, seniors, those suffering with health issues, homeless, and poverty. And this really is a disregard for separation of powers, and it's unconstitutional, and it's a reckless abuse of power. And let's not fool ourselves. Their goal is to find savings to put into the tax breaks for the large corporations and the wealthy. They're not taking all this money savings and just giving it back to us or being more efficient. It's all to take this tax break that they want to extend from 2017, and it's all going into their pockets to increase their wealth and their power on the backs of people who need it the most. And I just want to add one more point because immigration is very important to our community. The immigrants are a very big part of the contribution of everything that goes on in this community, and I think we all agree with that. And while the focus right now in Washington is what's going on with Elon Musk and what's happening, with all of these appointments, the immigration issue is real and it's very scary. And Colorado has laws that prohibit law enforcement to work with ICE. There's a lot of know your rights information on our website and on our Facebook page. It's not just for the immigrants. It's also for us to know when we see something happening, there are things that we can do. We can help the people to know what their role is and how they can keep quiet. We can take pictures and take video. And it's really important that we stay aware of that. And there are people in this community that we all know that are afraid to send their children to school or afraid to go to work. And these illegal ICE raids have to stop, and they have been happening, all over the country and even in Denver, and hopefully they won't happen here. So I'm going to turn this over to Debbie, who's going to say what we want Senator Hickenlooper to do about it and to give you some questions that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. Okay, so I have some questions and requests for Senator Hickenlooper. Thank you. Yesterday on X, Senator posted a video saying that our nation is in a make or break moment. We really appreciate that he did that, and we agree. He also stated the moment is now to use every tool at our disposal to disrupt what they're doing. We would like to know, does that mean that the senator is on board with using every procedural tool at his disposal to disrupt and delay all Senate business starting right now until this crisis is over?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to know.
If you know the answer, you can respond.
Ask
If
him.
you need to get back to
We
us,
want
that's
an
totally
answer.
fine.
The answer is yes.
Great.
Yes, Senator Hickenlooper, I'm essentially going to repeat what you just stated, right? Yeah,
Louder.
that
Can you
video.
stand up on the chair, do you think?
Sure. I'm a very uncoordinated mom. Maybe not.
Stand on the wall. Stand to the wall.
Don't danger.
Okay. Yes, I will say, I think, all of you have known Senator Hickenlooper. You know him as governor. You know him, some of you even knew him as mayor.
Speak up, please.
Yeah, some of you have known, I'm sure you have followed Senator Hickenlooper for a while in his work in government here in the state. He was our governor, he was also mayor, and he is someone who will always try to find solutions that are practical and try to work with everyone across the aisle. But is he going to fight for Colorado? Yes, he is. And yes, he will. This as one example is what was shared earlier about voting no this morning. And he is going to use his powers in the Senate. He is not okay with what's happening with our checks and balances not being used in the way that they should be, and our constitutional powers being threatened. So,
Thank you. So the reason, we'll do questions later. The reason we're asking is because on Tuesday, the senator voted to confirm Doug Collins, who is one of Trump's loyalists, as Secretary of Veteran Affairs. The fact that he voted yes for a Trump loyalist is unacceptable to us, and so we hope you will confirm that moving forward, he will join the resistance and vote no on every single vote and do everything he can to stop all Senate business until this crisis ends.
I think what I can respond to this is please continue to reach out to us and tell us why this matters and what you would like from the senator. He is listening. So there have been other demonstrations like this in other parts of the state. People have been sending us stories. People have been calling our office, and we need you to continue to do that. The senator needs to know how you feel. He needs to know that you are asking him to vote no on everything. And you can also call me directly. I can make myself available if you'd like to meet with me one-on-one. I'm available to you for that. So
Great to hear that, but let's move on. But it is a lesson to us that we cannot assume that our Democratic senators are doing everything we want them to do.
That's right.
They need to hear from us. They need to hear from all of your friends. And I wanted to point out something else. I'm glad to hear that he is on board now with the strategy of voting no on everything and stopping all Senate business that we can. But Indivisible began proposing this strategy several days before the senator got on board. And Indivisible is being widely recognized as being central to the resistance against the Trump agenda. So we would like to know if we can count on the senator to stay up to date with the strategic guidance being provided by Indivisible.
we will continue to listen to you.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well,
And that's
it
at
is,
the national level too.
I mean,
Yes.
we are working our butts off to get that information to you.
Yes.
It would be great for us to know that we don't have to make 1,000 phone calls.
Right.
Senator Hickenlooper is looking at the National Indivisible Group and seeing what they're saying.
Yes. And I will also add again. I mean, I'm in close contact with Debbie, and you can always call and tell me.
Great.
Yes. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
In the video that I referenced before that he put out yesterday, Senator Hickenlooper stated, "I've always tried to find ways to work across the aisle, and that's never going to change." We want to know what working across the aisle means to Senator Hickenlooper, given the state of emergency that we are in. Does that mean compromising and making deals with MAGA Republicans?
No, I will give a great example for this. So the Lincoln-Riley bill that I think, yes, that some of you I'm sure are very familiar with. One of the strategies that the senator used for that, he voted yes to allow the bill to come to the Senate floor, but not because he was in support of the bill, but because he wanted to see if there was an opportunity to have a conversation possibly around solving some of the immigration issues, maybe DACA, maybe something for our farm workers. You know, there were different ideas and things that were brought. And so he voted yes to be able to have those conversations around amendments. But once it came to actually supporting the bill, he voted no. So I think you will continue to see Senator Hickenlooper operate in a way that is strategic, right? So when you see in them, I think just know that he's pragmatic, and he still wants to try to find solutions for Colorado. But in the end, he will continue to stand on, you know, and for you and for a lot of the beliefs that I think you hold in connection with him.
Thank you. We have some new people come in. Feel free to come closer so you can hear what we're talking about. We want the senator to know that we do believe there is important reaching across the aisle work that needs to happen, but it does not include compromise or making deals. We urge Senator Hickenlooper to reach out to his Republican colleagues and get them on board with opposing Trump's illegal power grab.
Yes.
We urge Senator Hickenlooper to help his Republican colleagues understand the harm that the MAGA agenda will cause to their constituents.
Yeah.
So thank you. It sounds like I assume he's on board with doing that kind of work.
Yes, and he's always, he's never been shy of having those conversations with Republicans. And a lot of the times there are conversations that are happening in the background where he's trying to strategize and he's trying to find solutions. And a lot of his work in the Senate is about building those relationships and trying to figure out how to find a middle ground. And I think we've seen him do that even with the IRA. I know we all know where we stand right now with IRA funds and what's happened with that. But in the past, we've seen him operate in that kind of a way where he brings everyone across the aisle and tries to find those solutions.
Okay, well, we want to be clear that meeting in the middle is not acceptable right now.
Right.
When you're negotiating with MAGA, they need to come over here. There's nothing honorable about the middle.
Right.
It's not good enough.
It's not business as usual.
And what we want to share is that we are very concerned that too many Democrats are trying to play nice and trying to seem reasonable. We've already seen that strategy is not working. MAGA Republicans are determined to ram through their Project 2025 agenda. We need Senator Hickenlooper to fight like hell to stop that.
Yes.
Trying to get brownie points for being a nice guy is not going to protect Coloradans from the harms that the MAGA agenda will cause.
We need to go full Mitch McConnell on their ass.
Right.
And what I could say to this is we are listening, and we as staff are listening to our constituents, what you're telling us on the ground, and we are having those internal conversations with the senator about what the people of Colorado are saying about being in the middle and about, you know, where they would like him to speak up and what they would like him to do. So we are really that information.
Great.
We need lawsuits every
So,
day.
yeah, we do need lawsuits, but the courts are slow. We need
What
more
was
than
he
that.
thinking when he voted for a Trump loyalist?
I love
Like, what was in his mind?
I'd be happy to have that conversation with you separately.
I want
Okay. I don't know that you can speak to what was in his mind. I think we need to focus on, I mean, today, because we don't have Senator Hickenlooper here, I would like to focus on what we all need to do moving forward. I want to ask a few more questions, not to Jeanette here, but some questions that we would like the Senator to get back to us about. You've already addressed this, but is Senator Hickenlooper on board with playing hardball, speaking out forcefully, and doing everything he can to save our country from a fascist takeover? Does the Senator have ideas for what else Democratic senators can do, aside from slowing down Senate business? We appreciate him supporting legal action, but that process is very slow. What ideas does the Senator have for getting his Republican colleagues to recognize that the administration's decisions and actions are going to hurt their constituents? What ideas does the Senator have for how we can fight back against the constant lies and disinformation being thrown at the public? What will a Senator do to help the American public understand that the government is now being run by billionaires whose only goal is to grow their own wealth and power? And, did you want to speak? I asked you. That's fine. I just didn't want to tell you. And here's a list of some key things we need the Senator to do. Demand accountability. Demand answers. Find out exactly what Elon Musk is doing and what systems he has access to.
And compromise.
and
And compromise. It's a major security breach. It's unconscionable he's being allowed to do this.
Find out what is being done to protect Americans' privacy. Demand an end to members of Congress being blocked from entering federal agencies. Think outside the box and find other ways to block the destruction of our democracy.
And can you let him know that we're upset with his vote for the Trump loyalists?
Yes.
How do we
This
get rid
is-
of Elon? What is the path to getting rid of that man?
Let's let Debbie get.
No, that's okay. This is good. This is not business as usual. This is not time to play Mr. Nice Guy. The court process is slow. We need to stop this now. Senator Hickenlooper said yesterday in his video, we're in this fight together. It's time for him to fight and fight hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
We think you should still read a letter, or maybe I can pick one. So, do you have anything else to say? Or are you willing to take some questions from
What
the
I
audience?
will say is, in regards to the questions about the votes and these questions, I would like to commit to having a follow-up meeting to be able to get the right answers and the accurate information to you. So I want this to be an ongoing conversation. I want to be available to all of you. I think, and I can continue to share, things that he is doing. So something that you will likely hear about today, for example, in regards to what we saw in Denver with the raids yesterday, he is co-sponsoring a bill to ask for that policy that is now allowing ICE to enter into sensitive spaces to be revoked, right? For that to change, to go back to the way that it was. And so he is responding to what we are seeing on the ground and what is affecting Colorado. But I want to make sure that in regards to these questions that I'm giving you accurate information, and so I want to follow up with you.
How do we reach
Okay,
him?
I have my card. I'll give it to all of you if you'd like. And Debbie also has my information.
well, and as Lori said in the beginning, join Mountain Action Indivisible. We have all that information. We try to make it really easy. We pull out the most important stuff. We have a website. Talk to us after it and get connected with us. Indivisible National is amazing. They have weekly calls with their co-founders. They're inspiring. They're strategic. If you're feeling alone and depressed, listen to the call. It feels much better to be part of a movement that is fighting this than trying to hide away in a hole by yourself. I know a lot of people have questions or comments. Before we go to that, I want to say one more thing. Yesterday, when we asked Jeanette for this meeting, she said one thing that is really important is that we collect stories from people who are directly impacted already by what is going on. So if any of you can help collect those stories move people. Facts do not move people. We need those stories. We've collected a bunch just in the past 24 hours. Coloradans of all stripes are being impacted. Children, seniors, black, white, and brown. We are all being impacted, and we need those stories to get to the senator.
Yes.
So we have a bunch that we will be sharing. Please collect more. Reach out to your friends. Tell them this could make an impact.
Yes, and we are asking for this because this really helps the senator on the Senate floor, right? When he is speaking and he's fighting for you, he's able to share those stories. So we are collecting them. Another thing that I will say, and this is just to add on to what was said earlier, is yes, please do reach out to your congressional offices, not just our office, not just Senator Bennett's office, all of your congressional offices. They need to hear from everyone. They need to hear how it's affecting you directly. So all of your offices, please reach out and make your voice
How
be
do
heard.
we do that?
Connect with us.
We have all the
Connect with
telephone
us.
numbers and email addresses and
I
everything.
tried that. I got
Call,
it.
connect with us. We will help you.
Okay.
Calls are more effective than emails. And we need to be emailing our representatives. We may be really pissed about what's happening with the South Dakota senator, but we will have the most impact on our representatives and senators.
Again, if you reach out to me and you need to talk to a staffer from a different office and I have that information, I will put you in contact with them.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead.
Well, are your communications bilingual?
Some of
Ours?
Not
No,
yet.
but
Oh,
guess
sorry.
who started? I mean, we are all volunteers. We would love your help. There is so much that we want to do, and we are working way beyond our capacity. That's another thing. Anyone want to volunteer with us, even if it's just a little bit each week, we would love to have you join us.
Okay, thanks. Sorry to point.
No, that's fine.
No.
I do
That's okay.
speak English and Spanish, and I do support my office a lot with bilingual information. And we do have some, but anybody can speak to me directly in Spanish.
Okay, we want to.
Can I say one thing about phone calls?
Yeah.
I called Senator Waters' office just a couple days ago, and her aide said, call the entire Ways and Means Committee in the House, and also the Senate Finance Committee. I looked all those numbers up. I'm happy to share them.
Share that with us. We'll make sure that's
She
the best
said,
strategy before we.
give calls to all the Ways and Means. There's 41 of them.
So, go for it, Sloan.
The message I want the senator here is, this feels like an existential crisis for democracy we're going through right now. There's no time for baby steps, no time for moderation and defense of democracy. We gotta stand up, fight like hell, because they're gonna eliminate our opportunities to participate in democracy from henceforth on, and it's only gonna get really ugly, and people might be in the streets dying because of that. And we gotta stop it now. No middle of the road, no compromise, fight like hell.
So I tend to get a lot of news from a website called Daily Cause. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but I support the Daily Cause. I think they're a totally legitimate news provider. And I typed in, I found a place to ask them a question yesterday, and that was, how is it that if the FBI is our main source for protecting people, protecting democracy, defending the Constitution, they are allowing themselves to lay down like lambs and be totally overrun? The guy that was accidentally appointed to be their new interim chief, Brian Driscoll, has a long history of going into as a military-style combatant for the FBI into third world countries all around the world, and they take out all the bad guys. Why haven't our FBI been standing in front of buildings like USAID and all the other buildings that they're walking into, doing whatever they're doing? If it's gross, if it's blatantly illegal, if it's blatantly unconstitutional, why aren't they, as our primary police force, arresting those guys and throwing them in jail? It would be a huge punch in the face to the bully who, when a bully gets punched in the face, says, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. And that's the way Trump is. He backs off of anybody that attacks him. And if they were, so the question is, how are they allowing themselves to do that? And I don't know what, there's, I'm sure, no easy answer. The Daily Cause responded back to me within 2 hours and said, you raise a great question. Millions of people all over the country are asking the same question. If you find out, let us know. Because they want to publish it. But it seems like if all of the Senate and all of the Democratic Congress would march over to the Pentagon and get those guys before they're all fired by Trump and his henchmen, then maybe they can, because they've already declared Trump is waging war against all the good guys. And if he wants war, we need a military force that's going to stand up to them, a police force of some type that will stand up to them and say, no, you're not allowed to come into this building. You do not have the authorization of the rights. And just because SCOTUS gave Trump immunity doesn't mean he gave all of his henchmen immunity. The main thing that allowed John Gotti as the big mafia boss to get away for so long is he had all kinds of other guys doing his dirty work for him. And that's exactly what Trump is doing.
Great point. Jeanette will share that with
the senator. And I will also say we have a great constituent affairs team. There's a place on our website where you can share your thoughts like this, enter your email information, it goes to them. We are tracking the numbers, and the senator does pay attention to those numbers on these specific issues.
Okay, go
Getting
for
back
it.
to immigration for a minute. Yesterday, ICE went into Denver Public Schools. They said they had warrants for the criminals. Oh, they were just going to do the criminals and they have warrants. That was a lie. They did not have warrants. They just terrorized and split families up. I want to know what the plan is for keeping ICE out of our schools and our churches.
As I mentioned just earlier, the senator today will be introducing, will be sharing that he's co-sponsoring a bill where he's asking for that piece of sensitive spaces, where ICE is being allowed into sensitive spaces to be revoked. So.
What is he doing
I'm gonna
about
say-
Elon Musk?
Before we get into something else, I just want to say people are starting to leave. We have flyers for Indivisible, so please don't leave without taking one if you're not already connected with us. Okay.
I want to know what he's doing about Elon Musk, illegal, unconstitutional access to all of our secure records.
I think in regards to that, he's in agreement with all of you and the government overreach, and he believes in checks and balances. He believes in our constitutional rights.
What's he doing about it?
And he will continue to stand and fight for Colorado and not allow what's happening to continue to happen.
Sarah, go for it.
Hey, my name's Sarah. I live here in Carbondale. I'm a teacher. Thanks, Jeanette, for coming. I have a story to share, and then I wanted to follow up with a question. So I've also coached at the high school and have coached students that are in the pre-collegiate program here, which is a program to support students who are first-generation college-bound students. And it's been a long program here in the community, really successful. And so someone who works at pre-collegiate had a story that I'm going to share.
Do you want to stand up here?
I have an undocumented student who is now at school in Denver at Metro State. She is a very bright girl and has been here since she was a baby. She received the Dream Scholarship, which is a scholarship for undocumented students so they can fulfill their dreams of attending college. She called me a few days ago in tears because she is terrified to leave her apartment. She says she just goes straight from her apartment to school and back, which isn't exactly the college experience she was hoping for. She is also considering leaving school because she is terrified that her parents will be deported while she's away and she won't see them again. Plus, I have students coming to my office daily at the high school, also terrified of losing their family. So I think that's a really just powerful, it's important for us, and no matter which way people are being affected, who are standing right here or people in our community that we want to look out for. My follow-up question would be the example you gave of the Riley Act that ended up being passed, and Hickenlooper was hoping to use a strategy to send it through to then have a conversation. I'm curious.
But he voted no. I want to.
He did vote no.
Yeah, he voted
yes,
no.
which is very good. But I'm curious about that in between that strategy he had. Was he able to have conversations with Republicans? Did he get anywhere with that strategy?
I would have to get back to you on exactly what happened in those conversations. I was just given the facts when the decisions that were made, so I can follow up with you.
Because again, going back to what we're asking for is to not take that middle road, because in that instance it didn't look like it worked from our point.
I can just tell you that there were a lot of amendments put forth by the Democrats on both sides, and every time they put those amendments through, Republicans just shot it down. And because we don't have the majority anymore, it's really hard to make progress. So that's why we have to think outside the box and start doing things as the people, because we're going to have the power more than our elected officials until things change.
Okay, so over here, go for it.
Yeah, voting no doesn't mean anything. You don't have the power of the vote. The Republicans are not going to switch over. We know they're going to cave in. They're going to win every vote. Trying to pass a bill is not going to go anywhere because it's never going to pass. No matter what, it's never going to pass. So the only option I see is that we have to fight them legally on every step, every minute, every day. Take them to court, because we're not going to win a vote. And we can pass amendments all day long. It doesn't matter.
Yes, and he will
We can fight the worst possible appointees that you can imagine, and it won't matter because they're going to get it. So they're breaking the law, and I need Hickenlooper and Bennett and everybody to stand up and fight them. Not take it under advisement, not work across the aisles, that's not going anywhere, not try and find a compromise. They have to go storm the buildings, kick these people out who don't belong there, get the police involved, get the FBI involved, because we're not going to win a vote.
He's already stated publicly he's going to use every tool that he has, including the courts.
Well, they're not using every tool they have.
Okay. You and then you, because I know both of you guys want to go.
So with Congress, you're absolutely right. Not much is going to happen in Congress. Legal strategy is one of the few really good tools that we have. And Debbie said, I counted it 3 times. Oh, litigation is slow. It doesn't have to be slow. If judges had expedited the legal proceedings 2 years ago, Trump would be in jail now. And judges have the power to expedite every proceeding at the appellate court level, at the district court level. And remember, there are a lot of great liberal lower court judges that we can go to. Forum shopping. Republicans did it. We can do it even better. And we need to go to those judges, get those suits filed, and Congress has to call out judges by name politely and say, look guys, you need to expedite these cases. We can't wait a year to get a decision on privacy. We can't wait a year to get a decision. You need to go quickly. And if you call out their name, maybe it'll make a difference. And there are things called rocket dockets. They're all over the country. It's possible to do it.
Thank you, Eric.
This I want to say thank you for that strategy, for that idea. We are always open to listening to your policy ideas and strategies, and thank you for sharing that.
I have one more suggestion, and that is the judiciary committees in the House and the Senate could I don't think it's ever happened before, legal advisory groups. There are plenty of law firms that would love to be available to our Congress to advise and those advisory lawyers could be available to, unions and immigrant groups to advise them on how to bring lawsuits, what the lawsuit should challenge, and it's something that isn't that hard to do. I've never known it to happen, but the press is terrible at reporting on legal issues. And I'm a lawyer. I was a lawyer in Washington, D.C. for 40 years, so I think I know what I'm talking about. So go for it.
And I want to say, number one, thank you for correcting me on that. And we want to talk with you and find out, what does that mean? What exactly are the calls? Who are they? What do they say? That's the kind of work that we're trying to do, finding out what are the most important calls or other actions we can do, and getting them out to people. So thank you. We'll be in touch.
Hey.
And you've been wanting to talk.
So I am a federal employee at this particular point. I'm currently on leave. I'm very lucky to have a little bit of leave and be able to make this meeting. However, I have received a lot of the buyout orders. There's different information coming at me every day. The latest information today was that previously there had been maybe an offer to rescind if you requested the buyout or agreed to the buyout, that there would be a chance to rescind. That went away today. But there's also good news is that a federal judge today has blocked the buyouts until, I believe, Monday. Okay. But this has affected me. I have no idea if I'm going back to a job or not. Okay, so I'm 4 years from retirement in the federal government, and I have no idea whether the job I go back to when I get off leave is going to be there or not.
There's no certainty that the money will be available for this 9-month payout. In March, the government could close. I mean, and they can't guarantee you'll be paid. Now, do we trust them to pay you? Hell no!
Go ahead. Yeah, so, yes, all the things that you just said. The thing that I think is most upsetting to most people is that the Democrats are playing by the book, and they're doing it the way it's supposed to be. But Trump and his people are not, it's not business as usual. They could give a shit about the rules. They're moving lightning fast, and they're moving so fast, they're playing with the rules and quoting this bill and that bill and proposing this bill. It's not going to do it. We're going to be 10 feet under by the time we get our little idea. We have to do something that's not by the book. Otherwise, we're going to lose this and lose it quickly.
So we need a plan. We need an actual plan to get balance of power back. And all of these things that you're talking about, that all has to be in the plan, and it has to be fast. And we need to see the plan, because Democrats do not have a plan.
We got to get Elon out. Out. Yes, out.
Oh, listen.
So he is going to violate. He is going to come across classified material. His people will come across it. The question is, and he's got a conflict of interest. There's an Ethics in Government Act. I'm not an expert. I think litigation to bring all of that out, and that seems to me the only way we can really get rid of him is to get him caught in something illegal. And he's going to do it. You know he's going to do something illegal.
Isn't he illegal to even be in there?
His appointment is totally legal. I'm sorry. If you look at the executive order, it seems absolutely legal. He's a temporary government employee.
But he's a contractor. How can he be an employee and a contractor at the same time?
I don't think he is a contractor.
Okay, let's keep going because we're not going to figure all this out.
I think all this stuff is really awesome, all these ideas, but there's a bunch of special elections coming up in other states because of his appointees that we can help send money to support the candidates in these special elections.
Here.
We can do that.
Yep.
And there's another point, I forgot my point. About
Florida and New York.
And funding like ACLU and those organizations.
Indivisible.
Indivisible has all these strategies that you're talking
Okay,
about.
great.
So you could go to their website and find out all of it.
Right, those are good.
Go ahead.
Is Indivisible working with Latino advocacy groups in the Valley to
put together a rapid response network, so if any ICE agent
There is
shows
one.
up at our school.
There is one already.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, I'd like to join
It-
it.
Okay, come
Because
talk,
we're
like I
gonna
said,
have
just to
to
let you know,
go-
Indivisible is very small. What we're
No,
doing
I
is
know
following the
this.
groups that are focused on
Yeah.
that, because we're not experts in that.
No, but I mean, that's something concrete.
Yes, that everybody can do,
everybody
and we're,
here
yes, and we're
could
trying to
do.
let people know about
Tonight,
that.
there's a rapid response network existing here, and tonight, they're doing a workshop online. And you can get connected to them. It's posted on our Facebook page.
Okay, thank you.
There's a rapid response network already in the valley. They're doing a workshop tonight, and the information about it is posted on our Facebook page, Mountain Action Indivisible. It's posted there. So if you have questions about it, come to me afterwards.
You've been wanting to talk.
Yeah, there was a wonderful halcyon time when we had control
Could
of.
you stand up? They're not gonna be able to hear you.
We used to have control of everything, the presidency, the Senate, the House, all at once, and Mitch McConnell was able to stop everything we wanted to do, almost. The playbook has already been written. So what I want to know is, will the senator be willing to take on the Mitch McConnell playbook and implement all of the tactics that he did to stop us at that time? I would strongly encourage him to study that man and make it happen.
Yeah. For one thing, why don't they use the filibuster to block every one of these cabinets?
You can't use it anymore.
Can't use
Yeah,
it
they got rid
on,
of
you
it.
can't use it on executive branch anymore.
It's gone.
Will you pass that on to him? Thank you.
Yes, I think we should wrap up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jeanette, can you stay if people want to
Yeah,
talk
I
with you?
can say I want to give people my business card, my contact information, make sure that you know what's on our website, all of that. So I'll stay.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
Woo. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Stay in touch with us. Thank you.
Join Indivisible, and thank you guys, and get it out to your friends. We need everybody in this valley to be part of Mountain Action Indivisible.
Jackie, is there a physical place?
No, we have